Hi, I'm Lois Beres at KZGN-TV, and this is Ridgecrest Talk. And today I am talking with a Ridgecrest icon, if you will, David Matthews, who's been here for a while. I'm sure you've all seen him. He's available out there everywhere. Thank you for coming, Dave. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
How long have you been in Ridgecrest?
Well, it's been about 47 years now.
That's a while.
Yeah, yeah.
When you came, did you live on base?
No,
No?
I did not come with the base.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, why'd you come for?
I came with TI.
Oh,
It
okay.
used to be one of the contractors here.
Oh, so you moved in as a contractor then?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you lived out in town the whole time?
Yes,
Okay. You raised your family here?
most of them. I mean, most of the time,
Most
yeah.
of you got a big family. How many do you have?
Two.
Two kids?
Yeah.
One boy and one girl?
Right.
Okay, and they went through school here and everything?
Yeah, my son was in kindergarten, I think, when we moved here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your daughter, was she born here?
Oh, no.
No,
No, she was born in Berkeley, California.
Really?
When I was going to school, yeah.
Oh my gosh, so you went to Berkeley?
Yes, I did.
That surprises me.
Well,
Well, a little bit of a different angle
well,
up there
it was
these
the
days.
engineering school.
Engineering school, okay.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
kind of engineer are you?
A double E.
Electrical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually worked electro-optics, more or less,
Oh.
for all my life, or all
That's
the career.
interesting. What's the difference in that and a straight electrical?
Well, it's sort of like the television camera. I mean, that's the optics, and then when the signal goes back in, that's the electronics. So
Okay.
all the systems I worked on had something to do with either infrared or visible
Okay.
cameras hooked
So
up
you-
to electronics.
You work directly with the planes and that sort of thing?
No, they were mostly missiles.
Oh, missiles,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And you needed optics on those?
I'm sorry?
You needed optics on the missiles?
Yes, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you
Mostly
could see them or
infrared.
they could see you?
Well, you're looking for targets.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's
And,
very interesting. So you came here with TI
Yeah.
as an electrical engineer,
Yeah.
and you and your wife and both kids came
Mm-hmm.
at the same time? Okay, that's cool. I know you lost your wife
Well-
a while back, but
We didn't come exactly at the same time. I tried to sell my house
oh, okay.
down there, and they stayed down there because there was really little places to move into up here.
I know.
And I stayed in a motel for almost 6 months
Wow.
before we even got into a house up here.
Did you have to build it?
Well, the one that I'm living in now, I had built, yeah. But
Because I know some people I've talked to, the husband would bring home pallets and stuff from work, and then they'd
Yeah.
build their house with leftover
No,
stuff.
it was a Dieter house.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so you had to fix it so you could live in it and then
Right.
go from there. And then you built the one you have now, or you had
Yeah.
built. Yeah, okay. And then your kids started school here, and so they went through all school here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They go to Berkeley?
No,
Okay, just curious. How's the engineering school? Must be awesome up there, because they've got...
yeah, that was partly why I wanted to go up there. They were well known for their engineering stuff.
Okay. Where are you a native? Are you California native?
Born in Pennsylvania,
my
Western
gosh.
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
West Pennsylvania Dutchman.
Okay.
As my mother
That's your
was.
heritage.
My mother was full-blooded German, even though she was born in this country, because both of her parents were German immigrants who came
Oh.
through Ellis Island.
So she was first generation.
Yeah.
Wow. How neat.
And my dad was Welsh,
Okay.
and
Did they meet in this country or?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, my dad's family had been here for years.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they came over in the Mayflower, but
They could have been close.
somewhere not too long after that.
I see. Okay. And so you enjoyed your time working with the base. Did you work actually on base, or did you have building out
In
in
my
town?
last 16 years of my active employment, I was on the base. Yeah.
Okay.
Because well, that's a long story, but I don't think we want to go into that.
You know, sometimes they're not something that's just fun to talk about.
Yeah,
But such an interesting area out there, and then the contractors sometimes work away from the base and then just send their product over.
Yeah.
But you were actually on base part of that time then.
Well, I did work as a contractor on base for a while, but then I went civil service
Oh, okay.
and retired civil service.
So then you were definitely on base. That's
yeah,
the last part of the
that's
story.
the 16 years I'm
Okay.
talking about. Yeah.
The rest of the story that we're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're a member of, or have been a member of, IEEE, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's an engineering club that supports.
Yeah.
Tell me about that a little bit if you can.
Well, originally there was two societies. There was the Institute of Radio Engineers and the American Institute of Electrical Engineers.
Ah.
And for whatever reason, they decided to merge. I don't know, it's been years ago. And so they came up with the combination of the two.
Electrical and electronic
yeah,
engineers.
and made it the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. That's what that stands for.
Okay.
And I am actually a life member, but somewhere along the lines they've lost my records, and I don't get any information from them somewhere.
Engineers aren't supposed to lose things.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Randy was a member of them, but I don't know if he was a life member. I
Right,
don't know. But you
yeah.
kept trying to get him to go with you.
Yeah.
Don't know if he did. That's a great organization, though. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Supports you guys out there. So what was your favorite memory?
Oh boy, that's easy.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, it is.
We may have to hold that.
As far as career is concerned, you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I worked at Hughes Aircraft before I came up here.
In L.A.?
Yes, Culver City, actually. It's the
Okay.
Hughes Airport. And the Apollo programs were starting up, and the lunar lander had to have a system where they could dock with the command module, which was rotating the moon,
Wow.
as the lander came back so that they could join up and come back home. RCA, Radio Corporation of America, had a radar system which had finally won the contract with NASA, and they were having
Dave,
problems.
I think we're going to have to hold this till our next segment. Hang on, folks. We'll be
Okay.
back in about 2 minutes, and we'll tell you a little bit more about all this good stuff that he's excited about. Hi, you're back with Lois and Dave, and we were just talking about some of the very exciting things that he did prior to getting to Ridgecrest. Actually, you were working with Hughes, you
Hughes
said?
Aircraft. mhm.
Okay, and tell us a little bit more about that.
Well,
Where were we? Yeah, we got you on a lunar lander or something.
yeah, the lunar lander in the Apollo programs had to redock with the orbiter when they were returning home. And RCA had won the contract with a radar system to do that. And they were having problems meeting their schedule for some reason or other. And Hughes had originally bid an electro-optical system to compete with them. And so NASA came and asked Hughes if they would start up on their system just in case RCA didn't come through. And we said sure, and we had exactly 19 months to go from
Zero?
zero
Wow.
to getting some engineering models qualified and ready to
Wow.
go.
That's a short time.
It certainly is. But we did it.
You did
we
it.
did
You
it.
pulled it together.
And
Did you beat out RCA?
well, it turned out that RCA figured out what their problems were and got it going. But the program was a 7-day-a-week.
Oh man, I'll bet
you
it
know,
was.
Yes, it was. And
Because
we
you
went
start
out.
from zero and you've got a project that could take 5 years,
Right.
and you've got to do it in 19 months or something
Yeah.
like that. Wow.
And we went out for contract engineers, and I helped supervise them and put some of the teams together. And even to this day, I still contact with the Hughes old timers.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. My supervisor that brought me into Hughes at the time, he just passed away here a year or so ago. Very nice fellow, but I still remember those days. We worked as a team, day and night. We had some very good people working with us, and it was very enjoyable engineering experience.
Well, you had to be a team, or you couldn't have got that off the ground.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And a lot of places, even here sometimes, there's a bumping of heads and it doesn't go together as easy.
Yeah.
But if you're a team, it's just wonderful. So, and then after that, you came up here?
Yeah. Main reason I came up is back in those days we had in LA something that we called the orange smog.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and thank God you don't see that anymore.
Oh,
but
for sure.
I had asthma problems. My son had asthma problems. And so I looked around and decided, hey, TI is up here close to the mountains.
Clear air.
Yeah, clear air and whatnot. So I said, I applied with him and came up for an interview, and I said, I'd like to come here, and we made an arrangement, and I came here.
Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
And then you were working for TI.
Yeah.
And that lasted several years.
Well, yeah, just a couple.
Yeah, because then your last 15 or 16, you were a contractor. You were a not a contractor.
In between.
You were a contractor in between TI and becoming a civil servant.
Well, yeah, that was with the base, but
okay.
We had an economic downturn, and TI wanted to transfer me back to
LA
Dallas.
Area? Oh, Dallas.
And I told them when I came here I didn't want to go to Dallas.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, you can't do anything about it, I can. And I went to work on base as another contractor out of Burbank. And then came out into town to, well, actually, no, I forgot. I was actually unemployed for about 6 months.
Wow.
After the downturn continued.
Okay.
And believe me, that was a scary 6 months.
That wasn't the last one. That was.
No, that was
okay.
that was back in 72, 77.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there was one here when probably right about the time you retired.
But one of the guys that I had worked with at TI had got a job position with another contractor, and he said, hey, we need more people over here now, so come on over.
Ah, so you were able to stay here then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And you did the same sort of thing or with them? Or?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite project here on base?
Well, probably after I went to civil service, worked on the a deviation or an offshoot of the Sidewinder missile, which was the rolling airframe missile, which is a shipboard anti-missile defense system.
Neat.
And
did you get to go to see it work?
I did a lot of traveling to White Sands for field tests down there.
Okay.
And that was, yes, an enlightening experience.
Yeah.
And
I've just driven through White Sands. We were never stationed there.
Yeah,
or anything,
yeah.
So. But it was a back and forth for you. You weren't ever actually stationed there, or whatever. So interesting.
And whenever we would have the tests going, or some of the tests down there, they do close that highway. They did. I assume they still do, but.
I believe they do, but I haven't been down there in about 10 years.
Yeah, I haven't
so
either.
my daughter lives up on the mountain up by Ruidoso.
Yeah.
But we
I know
haven't
where
been up
that
there.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's beautiful down there, but it's unique and different from what you were used to out here and in LA. So
it's a little bit higher desert and a little bit different.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go to a break here again in a minute,
All
and then we're
right.
going to talk a little bit more about our local stuff, if that's okay.
Okay.
And we'll be back, and we'll talk with David here in a little bit. Some of the stuff he's done, he's got some really cool stories. We probably won't have time to get them all out there, but we're going to talk to him a little bit about his support of the city and where he thinks we're going. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Hang in there with us. Okay, you're back with Lois Beres and David Matthews. And we've talked about David from his college years to where he became an employee of TI, then he was employee of another contractor, then he was a civil servant. I have a girlfriend whose husband is a civil servant. She calls him a simple servant.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we're going to talk about what he does still here and now for the city of Ridgecrest. I guess you sort of got a love for the town or something.
Well, yeah, I really like this place. That's partly why I moved here, and actually it's kind of home.
It's a
even
good
though
place
I call
to live. Yeah.
my hometown was Wheeling, West Virginia, and that's still
Wow.
what I regard as my hometown.
Is that
but,
right?
Yeah.
You were born
But I've spent more time here than I have anywhere else. So.
Wow, that's amazing. So a lot of
my-
times you're going to see David, and he makes comments at City Council, and he does so often, and he does such good research, that at one point, several years ago, he was nominated and elected as honorary mayor.
Oh, yeah.
And that was so cool because he's there sometimes more often than the council people are. But you've worked so hard on some of these projects, and what is so cool about the way he does it is he researches it, and you look at the problem and you just go into the whole totality of it, and then he helps the council people by your research. So you
Well,
have a...
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really don't do an awful lot of research, but
Well, it
I
seems like you
keep
do.
up with what they're doing and what some of the problems are.
That's probably it, because
And-
a lot of people, they
yeah.
hear it 1 week and then they're all upset,
Yeah.
and they don't realize what brought us to that position.
And I guess what got me involved really was that when I was in high school, we had a civics class that we had to take, and part of the involvement with that class, we had a student government day where people from the class would be picked to go sit in with the city council in Wheeling. And I kind of got a behind the scenes
Oh, how
interest
neat.
in
Yeah.
what was going on. And when I got here, I hadn't realized it at the time, but the city of Ridgecrest was only, what, 4 or 5 years old.
Something like that. Yeah, because we just did
And-
the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. And they were meeting over on Panamint Street,
Really?
in one of the shopping center buildings that was over there at the
Oh, for
time.
heaven's sake.
And I thought, since I don't have anything to do, I'll go down and sit in on what the city council is
Because
doing.
you've done that before with your
Oh,
high
yeah.
school trip. Yeah.
And then I kind of got away from it for a while because things on the base and work were keeping me busy. And
With your job, your work, and your family.
Yeah. so when I retired, actually before I retired, I started going to city council meetings, and just
I've been here
took an
about
interest.
25 years, and you've been going all that time. I know, because
Yeah.
I've seen you
I
down there.
think- okay.
Excuse me, go ahead. Your
But-
interest was...
People urged me to run for mayor a couple of times, and I said, well, you don't run for mayor in this town. This was before we
Before you do
decided
now,
the
yeah.
elected mayor.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't do that. You run for council. And I don't want to run for council because, of course, my wife had problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I had extra stuff to do
Extra
there.
responsibilities
Yeah.
with her, right.
And also, I just felt that I do a lot of stuff at work during the day. I don't want to have to do a bunch of paperwork or stuff like that after hours. So a lot of the councilmen, I got to congratulate them. They can handle it. but I just felt that I couldn't, so.
Well, it's very time consuming.
Yes, it is.
It really is. I was on planning commission, and that's not nearly as much as council, and that took a
Right.
lot of work and
Yeah.
time. So you just
did.
helped them out, right?
Yeah. So I just got in the habit of keeping an eye on what's going on and trying to show them where they're going wrong.
There you go. And sometimes I've heard you even say, looks like you did a good job. So yeah, you'll tell them if they're right or if they're wrong,
Yeah.
whatever. Somebody needs to. That's what they
Yeah.
want to hear from the citizens,
Yeah.
right? I think so.
And I was pleased the other night to have the mayor include one suggestion that I made about the letter they're writing to the the board of supervisors about the
EIR.
land plan use
Oh,
or
that's
whatever
right.
it is.
Yeah, that land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
so
So
you
they
know,
included that for you. See, because they appreciate what you do there. I know
Yeah.
that's true.
I guess.
So
I
what
hope.
was it?
It was just that they include. Excuse me again. I got an itchy nose.
It's allergy time in Ridgecrest.
Yeah. It was just that they should conclude in the letter the fact that we want the supervisors to encourage the state and the federal government to look for other sources of water besides what we've got now. And I just mentioned this to Vince Fong at the luncheon before we came down here, that there are places in the country and also in Canada that have surplus water.
Lots of water, right.
So we need to start importing, and I think there's also places in Washington and Oregon that may have some surplus water.
Even Northern
we can-
California to a little
yeah.
bit of extent.
So we can tie electric distribution lines. We can build oil pipelines. There's gas pipelines that run clear across country sometimes.
Yeah, so why couldn't we do waterways?
Yeah. So and so.
Well, that's good.
That's what I just suggested they do.
And she included that in
Yeah.
the letter.
She wasn't that specific, but
But at least she knew that the idea basically
Yeah.
came from you.
yeah, just
And that-
just suggesting that the board of supervisors urge the state to explore it.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And they saw a good man when they saw it, when they made you honorary mayor. But people, you need to go down there and take part in things like David does. He'll talk to you if you go down to city council and let you know what's going on. We got just a little short time. Is there one particular project that they're working on that you're interested in?
Right now, it's
Water
mostly streets, probably.
Oh, okay, yeah. A lot of people, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Some of them are getting fixed.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are,
they-
and
I love
I'm
going
happy
down
to see
Sunland
that.
now.
And I think
Okay.
that is partly because of the Major L money that we got
Could
coming
be.
in.
I think
Yeah.
so. Okay, I think we're done. We're
Okay.
just about through. I appreciate you coming so much. Thank you.
thank
And
you.
everybody come out there and meet David. He's usually at council. And I'll see you next week.